Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to really get to the core of some big ideas.
That's the plan.
And today, we're diving into something pretty ancient, this concept of first fruits. Sounds specific, maybe a bit obscure, but our sources, ancient texts, theological writings, they suggest it tackles this huge, timeless question.
Yeah, the question of whether we as creatures can actually, live up to what's expected, or are we just inherently flawed?
Exactly. So our mission today is to figure out who or what are these first fruits, how do they appear, and what's their really crucial role in this bigger story.
The story about truth, justice, and ultimately vindicating some very significant claims.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Let's do it.
So right at the center of all this, the sources talk about a cosmic accusation.
Right. A huge challenge.
Yeah, like a fundamental challenge against truth itself. Specifically, can beings truly obey? Can they truly love in the way that's intended? It's almost like a universal courtroom drama.
That's a good way to put it.
So the question becomes, how do you even begin to disprove that? This idea that fundamentally creatures can't follow these principles.
Well, and what's fascinating here is that the sources pinpoint a specific claim from Satan. Basically, that humanity just cannot keep commandments. Period.
Okay.
And this accusation, it sows this deep doubt about God, right? It implies maybe real love for the divine isn't actually possible, which then, opens the floodgates to wrongdoing.
I see.
So the first fruits are presented as the direct answer, the divine rebuttal, if you will.
The proof.
Exactly. Their whole purpose is to dispel this doubt, to prove that the commandments are true, that they can be lived out.
Who are they? Specifically?
We're talking about individuals. The sources call them martyr witnesses, people who essentially loved God and neighbor unto death.
Wow.
Yeah. They kept the commandments, they overcame the challenges, the accusations, through their unwavering testimony, and ultimately their sacrifice. Their blood, the texts say, cries out for vindication.
So their ultimate stand serves this much larger purpose then?
Absolutely. It's not just about them. It's about exposing that original lie. Their lives, their faithfulness to the end, become the evidence.
Okay, so the first fruits are the living and sometimes dying proof that the accusation is false. They answer that big question we started with. And what our sources make clear is that this proof doesn't just land all at once. It comes in waves, like 3 distinct harvests.
That's right, 3 waves. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see how they build on each other. It's sequential.
Okay, walk us through them.
So the first wave, according to the text, is none other than Jesus Christ himself. He's called the first of those who sleep, meaning the first resurrected.
Right.
And this ties directly into the ancient first Passover festival. Remember the symbol of offering the first sheaf of grain?
Yeah, the day after the Sabbath.
Precisely. His resurrection day. He's the absolute first of the first fruits.
Got it. Wave 1, what's next?
Wave 2 involves the saints who received the Holy Spirit's first fruits. This connects to the Pentecost festival. Think of it as the early rain of the Spirit, that powerful outpouring that empowered the early believers.
Okay, so a broader group receiving that initial spiritual empowerment.
Exactly. Then comes the third wave, and this one's described very specifically. 144,000 redeemed from among humanity.
That's a number that comes up a lot.
It does. And they're characterized by their purity, their lack of deceit, their total dedication. They follow the Lamb, meaning Christ, wherever he goes.
And they get something called the latter rain.
Yes, the latter rain of the Holy Spirit. But crucially, the sources say they only receive this if they've already embraced that earlier rain, that initial outpouring. You need the first to get the second.
So these 3 waves, culminating in this specific group, are humanity's collective answer to that cosmic challenge.
That's the narrative, yes.
And you mentioned this ties into festivals, specifically fall festivals.
Correct. This whole culmination seems deeply connected to a sequence. The Feast of Trumpets, then the Day of Atonement, and finally the Feast of Tabernacles. It follows a prophetic pattern.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, right? How does this all wrap up? How does it lead to vindication?
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it? How does it all resolve? The sources suggest that when a specific appointed number of martyrs, those final witnesses, likely part of that third wave, is fulfilled, that triggers huge prophetic events. We're talking the 7th trumpet sounding, the first resurrection occurring, and this event called the Great Atonement taking place.
And Satan plays a role in this final stage.
Very much so. The texts describe him making a final desperate push to essentially fill up that number of martyrs by persecuting those who remain faithful.
Trying to force the issue on
It
people.
seems like it, but ultimately the faithfulness of all the firstfruits across all waves definitively exposes Satan's lies. They prove, beyond doubt, that yes, creatures can keep God's principles, that love and obedience are possible.
And that sets the standard.
Exactly. It establishes God's commandments as the ultimate standard for judgment. So the whole point, the sources suggest, is that when Jesus returns to judge offenders, his actions, his love and justice, are completely understood. No one can claim it wasn't fair or that the standard was impossible.
Because the firstfruits proved it wasn't.
They proved it. It prevents any misunderstanding of divine justice.
Wow. Okay, so we started this deep dive with firstfruits, which, might seem like a niche term, but as we've unpacked it, it's clear it unlocks this massive narrative. Truth, sacrifice, cosmic conflict, and ultimately vindication. It weaves through prophecy and history.
It really does connect a lot of dots.
So the final thought for you, listening.
Yeah.
What does this all mean? Maybe exploring these ancient patterns, this idea of steadfast commitment, even in the face of cosmic challenges, offers some fresh perspective.
Yeah, perspectives on those big questions about truth, our purpose, and maybe the real power behind enduring faithfulness.
Something to consider, definitely. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.